Hey there, how's it going? Today, we're going to dig into something pretty cool, a hidden treasure you might just have stashed away somewhere. We're talking about that old silverware and how it's getting a second chance at life.
Oh, you know the one I'm talking about, right? That big, heavy box lined with velvet that your grandma gave you. It's gorgeous for sure, but let's be real. What are you going to do with a full silver-plated set for 12 when most of our dinners come from a delivery app?
And that's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? All this amazing craftsmanship either lives in that box up in the attic, getting dusty, or maybe, just maybe, one spoon escapes and ends up in the junk drawer, next to the dead batteries and rubber bands. Our lives just don't have a spot for a seven-piece setting anymore. So this beautiful art is basically, well, retired. But what if retired didn't mean it was all over? This is where things get really interesting. It's about giving that piece of history a whole new purpose, a brand new job. We're talking about the art of the upcycle. Okay, so let's be super clear here. These aren't just little trinkets. Think of them as functional historical artifacts. You're taking these incredible, forgotten patterns, a lot of them from the mid-20th century, and you're giving them a new gig that you can actually use, every single day. What we're really looking at here is this perfect meeting of two pretty cool ideas. You've got the circular economy, which is just a smart way of saying we're keeping good, solid materials out of the landfill, and your everyday carry, or EDC. That's all the useful stuff you've got with you day to day. So you're turning this obsolete piece of art into a genuine treasure that actually makes sense to have on your keyring. And it's so important to get this. The people making these aren't just grabbing any old spoon. They are hunting for pieces with real history, great structure, and these amazing designs. These wild Art Deco patterns from the 30s, or those super optimistic floral designs from right after the war. A lot of these came from companies that aren't even around anymore. They're basically little pieces of industrial art that have already proven they're built to last. Okay, so whenever you talk about messing with antiques, some people get a little tense. You always hear this idea that you're somehow ruining it or destroying something valuable. So let's just tackle that head on, shall we? Yeah. To put it as plainly as possible, that idea is absolute nonsense. And honestly, it kind of misses the whole point. I mean, think about it. This silverware has been sitting in a drawer completely unused for decades. Is that really preserving it? So, instead of destroying history, what this really does is celebrate it. It puts that forgotten artistry back to work, right there in your pocket. It is the perfect example of preservation by function. You're actually rescuing this beautiful, high-quality material from being totally forgotten in a box, or even worse, just getting tossed out. And here's the real kicker. You ready for this? Unlike sterling silver, the actual scrap metal value of silver-plated flatware is pretty much nothing. Zero. Its value isn't in the silver. The real value is 100% in the history, the design, the craftsmanship, and the story that comes with it. All right, so you're sold. You get the history. You get the art. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. How do you spot a really well-made, quality piece versus something that's, just junk? So, first off, it helps to know what you're even looking at. That old hotel fob from the 1920s, it was made to hold keys. That plastic thing you got at a trade show, it was made to be an ad. But our flatware keychain, that's different. It was adapted from a totally different job, from an old dining set. Each one tells a totally different story. Okay, here's your quality checklist. Number 1, verify the plate. Flip it over, look for little marks on the back. A good one will be made from something called EPNS. That's electroplated nickel silver. All that means is the metal underneath won't rust or turn your pocket green. 2, check the finish. That cut edge where the spoon part used to be, it has to be perfectly smooth, what some folks call pocket polished. If it's rough or jagged, it's a shoddy job and it's going to tear up your pants. And finally, number 3, look at the stamping. If they've added letters, they should be sharp, deep, and spaced out nicely. The whole point is to make the original pattern look even better, not just to carelessly slap some words on it. So, when you bring it all together, what are you actually holding in your hand? Well, it's a heck of a lot more than just a clever keychain. See, the real value here is a mix of all these things. It's partly the history of that original pattern. It's the skill of the person who gave it a new life, and it's the fact that it's now something you can actually use. And hey, look at that tiny little sliver at the bottom. The scrap metal value? Still 0. And this, right here, this really gets to the core of it all. History isn't some delicate thing you have to keep behind glass. Real, living history is something you can touch, something you can use, and something you can make a part of your own story. At the end of the day, carrying one of these is a choice. You can have the same mass-produced plastic thing with a logo on it as everyone else, or you can carry a unique piece of American craftsmanship, an object that's already had one whole life and is now ready to start a new one with you.
Which kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. Go ahead, take a look at your own keys right now. What are they attached to? Every little thing we carry with us says something about who we are. So what story are you carrying?